tell you something that you should know about me. Raised on a farm. I'm a farm kid. Whoa, applaud that. Thank you. Thank you. Some people don't believe me when I say that, but I can prove that I was raised on a farm because I know where farm fathers go to discipline their children. Now, you've heard the stories or you've been there. Where do they go? Behind the shed, behind the barn. That's right. I spent a large portion of my adolescence behind the barn. I was an ornery farm boy. On our farm, if you saw a cat with a tail on it, you knew he was a visitor. That's a joke, man. I'm kidding. It's a joke. I've already lost this table here. No, I'm kidding. I love cats. I do. They taste like chicken. Anyway, no, that's a joke. That's a joke. Don't write me letters on that one. Let me wrap this up by sharing something with you that came across my desk, and it's not specifically about agronomy. That's about livestock production, but it's the same picture. A lot of people in this room are livestock producers. This article is called Factory Farming, and it's printed by the Humane Society of the United States, 2100 I Street Northwest, Washington, D.C. That's Disneyland East. And so, so let me read to you. They use a very technical term. The term they use here is, it's very technical. I hope this does not go over anybody's heads. Pigs. Breeding sows are subjected to even worse privation. It's going to get sad. Tethered in small spaces without even the minimal comfort of straw bedding or a large stall. The sows are so affected by the lack of stimulation that many suffer from obesity. There's something you've never seen right there is a fat sow, I guarantee you. Boars, that's what I am right now. Boars and breeding sows, this is key, should be allowed at least visual contact with one another to avoid social deprivation stresses. You know, I think this is a good time for me to make a public announcement. I raised hogs for several years, and I got out of the hog business, and a lot of people wondered, was it because, you know, it's changing marketplace or a change of careers, or no, I got out of it because I couldn't take it anymore. I'd go down the fair and barn, and I'd see them socially deprived sows. I got into Nashville last night, and the first thing I saw was a sow walking down the street looking for visual contact with a board. That's so sad. Y'all know I'm kidding, don't you? But there's a reason I make that statement. This did come across my desk in 1984. This was an article from 1984. Did they go away? No. They've added groups. They've added factions. They've added interests. Folks, we got to close this disconnect, or our way of life is going to be threatened by the vision of the uninformed. I sit next to, on a plane, a vegetarian. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I got nothing against the vegetables. I just have a particular preference. I think my vegetables, I want to feed them to a steer so they become a steak. That's all I'm saying. And I knew we were going to have a debate because I sit down next to her and she was eating a celery stick, a little baggie. And of course, I was racing to the gate, so I had to stop at that 5-star restaurant, Nathan Hot Dogs, and because I like to eat all meats at once in one product. So we started talking food, and the first thing she said to me was, "Are you going to eat that?" I said, "Why? Do you want some? I mean, I'll share. If you want to share, I'll share." And I told her, I said, "I know a little bit more about food production than you think. In fact, I know a lot about food. In fact, I know that a celery stick of that size only has 4 calories. It only has 4 calories in it, yet when you eat that stick of celery, it's going to take 6 calories. In other words, if you eat enough celery, you will disappear completely." But then we got into this debate, and I'll tell you quite honestly, my reasoning a lot of times in food is a little different than others. For example, let's take one of the basic food groups. chocolate. That is one of the basic food groups, is it not? Now follow my reasoning on this. Chocolate comes from a cacao bean, which comes from a tree, which is a plant. Therefore, chocolate is salad. Why did I do that? To remind you of something, folks. I want to remind you what's most important. I've asked millions of people that over the course of 40 years in front of tons of people, and I've never gotten an answer like, well, I sold my beans at the top of the market, had a record harvest, my cattle made more money than I ever did, bought a new car. Never once. I've always heard things like when I held my grandkids for the first time, when I watched my son come home from the service, my daughter graduate from college. The reason I'm reminding you of what's most important is that this is when we have to do it. We're going to spend a lot of time in the course of the next few days talking about net farm income and commodity prices, and it's not a pretty picture, and we know that. But don't lose the spirit. Don't lose the optimism. Don't lose the positive nature of agriculture that we've always had. How many times have we been knocked down? 1 million? I don't know. That's why this year in agriculture, when I've seen people with that positive spirit and still have the ability to laugh, I really applaud that, because that's going to enhance your creativity and get us through these tough times. My favorite ad of the year, without a doubt, on Craigslist. This is what the ad said. 38-year-old farmer looking for a wife with a tractor. Please send picture of the tractor. My favorite ad. Folks, I'm not going to be a motivational speaker up here and tell you that all you got to do is just believe in yourself, have the right positive attitude, and commodity prices will rise. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying we got to maintain the spirit. Degree in agriculture education, then taught vocational agriculture and FFA for 14 years, and I admire that and I appreciate that, because I too was an ag teacher, except I just taught for 2 years, and that's because I taught them all I knew. Not nearly as smart as this guy. I'm not stupid, I'm just really efficient, is what I'm trying to say. You know, I wasn't kidding, I kid a lot, but I'm real serious on what you did as an ag teacher is critically important. I think there's a lot of people out here that know the importance of an ag instructor and the FFA. Of course, that's my background. My ag teacher was my second mentor. My first mentor was my dad. My second was my ag teacher. He took me under his wing. Actually, kind of had me in a headlock. That was more accurate, I guess. But I sincerely say thank you for the lives that you affected as an ag teacher in this country. I appreciate that.
Well, I think we all know that FFA is probably the greatest youth organization in the world.
I took the millions of gallons of milk that were produced in this state, and then I thought this question is a weird question, but I have a weird mind, and I thought, how big would the cow have been if you got all that milk in one milking? One! It's a big cow. Huge. In fact, you want to know how big? I figured it out. This cow would be so big. The left front foot would be in Lake Michigan, right front foot in Lake Ontario. Okay? Left back foot, Gulf of Mexico, right back foot, Caribbean Sea. She'd be able to tear up the St. Lawrence Seaway with her horns, lick mist off the northern lights with her tongue, swat flies off the equator with her tail, and that mammoth udder would provide shade for the entire state of Florida. That's a huge cow. Now, I don't know, some of you go one step further. The rear end of that cow would be over Cuba. I'm just saying. You can just put your own punchline there. But the one thing that I knew, and that I always know whenever I see agriculture groups, and whenever I see blue and gold jackets, and by the way, thanks for having that unbelievable speaker on the program. I'm glad I'm not in the FFA now, and I was back then. That was, in case you're curious, it was right after they invented dirt. Long time ago. But I've always thought this, and you know it, but you don't feed yourself. You feed the world. There is no profession that is more noble, more honored, more needed than what you do. In fact, we have to do a little group exercise right now. Everybody take up your hand. Just put your hand just like this, okay? Okay? Now turn it so that you're looking at your palm, and then push it back over your shoulder. Okay? Now go up and down. Now give yourself a round of applause. Do that.